So here's the knife set that I received from Amazon about 4 or 5 days ago. The brand is Homgeek, and I found these to be really good quality knives, especially for the low price point. We've got an 8-inch chef knife. Each knife is labelled on the end of the knife. A 7-inch Santoku knife, a paring knife which we use for vegetables or peeling vegetables, and we've got a utility knife which again is for chopping smaller vegetables, an 8-inch bread knife which clearly is for bread, and a slicing knife which we had used for slicing meats. We've then got a steel, which I can go through how we use in a second. That's used for sharpening the knives. Just move this forward a bit. A really decent pair of scissors and the steak knives. Now don't be disillusioned by the steak knives. I know it's not very often that we have 6 people around for a steak dinner, but I'll go through the uses of them in a little bit. So here we have the paring knife. This is the smallest of the cooking knives. Very sharp point there and a very sharp blade. The wood is solid, a real wood which has been varnished on top with food safe varnish. And what's important for the strength of the knife is we've got the steel running all the way through the blade. Now if I just can show you what we're dealing with here. This is a tomato, often hard to get through the skin, and we see that's going through with no trouble at all. Then we've got the utility knife. Now this, as clues in the name, is for general utility purposes. Again, as with all these knives, we've got the stainless steel running all the way through the blade, which adds strength. A slight curve on the knife in case we want to use it in the rocking motion, and a nice protective heel to prevent our hand slipping off the end of the knife. The slicing knife, which we use to slice meats. Bread knife, also quite good for slicing meats if you don't want to slice, or if you're not slicing bread with it. Those with less experience with knives might find this a bit easier to handle. We've got the traditional chef's knife, extremely sharp. No trouble cutting through. Any items. Nice curve to the blade, and they're a good reassuring weight as well. Beautifully crafted. Then my favourite, the Santoku knife. I've used this a bit today already, as you can see it's slightly wet on the handle. No pressure at all. This knife's good for everything, from your small work to chopping your bigger items. See what we call here is scalloping on the blade, and when you're slicing cucumbers and some items like that, they can stick to the blade. This scalloping stops that happening. It creates an air gap between the item that you're chopping and the blade, and nothing will stick to your blade. This is one of my favourite types of knife, and the quality here is just excellent. Now the steak knives, although we don't have steak dinners every day of the week, and it's not very often at all, if ever, we have 6 people round for steak, I like to use these around the kitchen and around the house in general. They're handy for opening letters, opening cardboard boxes or deliveries from Amazon, and I mean, these other knives are very finely tuned instruments, and we don't want to ruin the blades on my cooking knives. So these steak knives are perfect for that. I've got 6 of them, so it's fine. The serrated edges are less likely to blunt as easy as the straight edges, so I prefer to use them for that. So don't be disheartened or I don't know, disinterested just because there are steak knives that you might not necessarily use. I use these daily. In fact, they're probably one of my main knives that I use. Scissors, as I said before, sharp as you like. Nice bottle opener on there. This little cut in here can be used to crack through bones, and the drop in the lip there is used when we're cutting through fish bones. So this is called a still, interestingly, because it's made of steel. Used daily, every 10 minutes or so in professional kitchens, and the way we use that is like this. We hold our hands so it's protected by the guard here, and then the knife at a 45 degree angle is going to go down the blade. Then the other side of the knife is going to touch the blade at a 45 degree angle again, and we're going to draw inwards. Draw inwards. With some practice you can get it a bit faster, and this way you can get a really finely tuned edge on your blade. So in conclusion, we're getting a top quality set of knives for a really decent price. Although they're designed for home use, I'd quite happily take any of these knives and give them to my team at work to use. Yeah, top marks, Homgeek. Well done.